Okay, so how to get your chainsaw started. After a winter in the shed, and most likely you'll find that your saw won't start. They're usually fairly easy to fix, but a load of people are extremely concerned and worried about fiddling with them. Don't be. They're a very, very simple machine, and it's quite easy to deal with most problems. The trick is, do not adjust anything. If it worked when you put it away, it should work now. The only difference is there'll be something that'll be a bit rusty, or it'll be full of some stale petrol somewhere. So okay, this is obviously in bits already, and if you've seen my previous video, you'll know that I've removed the pull cord. Anyway, right, first thing is check for stale petrol. Now, don't necessarily need to do it with a finger, but just have a sniff, and if it doesn't smell exactly as you think petrol should do, it's old and stale. It's difficult to describe the smell of stale petrol, but it is pretty clear. If so, empty it out, put some new in. Now, you need to check you've got compression. To do that, you grab a hold of the pull cord. Yeah, now off, but anyway, and give it a yank. Now, you'll actually should be able to feel it lumpy, so it should actually you should feel the resistance as it goes duk 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 as you pull it out. Anyway, I'm not doing that sound effect again. Anyway, assuming you have compression, your next port of call is to see whether it's fuel, because it's going to be one or two things that your problem: fuel or spark. Now, you need to find the carburetor. It'll be underneath the air filter, so find out where that is, and the carburetor will look like that. It will be better attached than this one, but I've taken this one out so you can see. They all look pretty much like this. Essentially, it just gives a decent fuel-oil mix. Fuel-air mix. And what we're going to do is we're going to bypass it to see whether the machine will run without the fuel system. So, to do that, all we're doing is we're putting a few drops of petrol down the mouth of the carb. Good thing for this is like half a teaspoon of fuel, fuel-oil mix, down the hole there. Then pull it over. So try to start it. If it starts or if it fires, you know that it's got spark. If it doesn't try and start, you've got a problem with the spark, which I'll come on to in a minute. If it does try and fire, usually you're going to find that what's happened is that this little tube here, it's either full of stale petrol or it's not drawn fuel up. Because what this does is this carburetor here has a little baby diaphragm under there, and what happens is as the piston sucks through here, it pulses the diaphragm, and that sucks petrol up through this pipe. So quite often what you can do is put a few drips of petrol down there, get it to fire a few times, do it once more or twice more, and then it should draw the fuel through and get it going. You put too much down, it'll flood it. Okay, it happens. Okay, so assuming you put a bit of petrol down and it doesn't start, you've got a problem with the spark. Now, you need to find the spark plug, in this instance with my ruined £2 chainsaw from the car boot sale, bought specifically for this video. No, I jest. The spark plug looks like that, and usually lives in somewhere like that. Now, get it out, unscrew it, have a look at the condition. Now, anything wet means that it's not firing properly. Anything oily means there's too much oil. And you also need to make sure you've got a gap of about that size between that bendy bit and the little tip there. So, what we're going to do is, if this is wet or if it's oily, put it in the oven at about 190 for an hour-ish to dry it out, or you can hit it with a blow lamp. That will also do it. Fairly indestructible, to be honest. And then you can also consider running a piece of sandpaper between the tip of the plug and the little bent over piece you can see there. Fold the thing over, fold the sandpaper over so you get both sides. Anyway, what we need to do is check for a spark. What you do to do that is difficult with one hand, but you connect the spark plug up to its HT lead, lay the spark plug on a piece of metal. Sometimes you may need to get a little piece of wire or something so that you can get a ground to it. So you've got this wire and then it needs to touch there, and then pull it over, not while holding the end. I've got my fingers on there because you get a hell of a shock. So you lay it on, pull it over. If you're getting a nice big blue spark, you're good, you've got spark. If not, the likely problem is right here. And what this is these are two bits of embedded steel in the flywheel that create a spark by passing past this coil of wire and this orange thing. Sorry about that, needed lubrication. Yeah. Right, okay, so the problem with this is you'll find that you get rust, surface rust on these two little things here. You'll see that they're only on one side, they're there, but you've got another similar thing here, but they're not on that. So what you've got to do is to get a bit of sandpaper and clean them off. Now the other alternative, not the other alternative, the other thing that will go as well, is that those two pass by a piece of steel in there and a piece of steel there. And those can be rusty too. So what you do is you fold a piece of sandpaper in half, so with both the scratchy faces outside, and you slip it around in there, and then you sort of scratch it past it like that. Oh god, it's sound effect day today. Anyway, that should help. If it doesn't, what you can do is you can actually undo this, one screw there, one screw there. They always have two screws. They'll always be pretty tight, but anyway, two screws, take it off, take that off, turn it upside down, clean the two little bits of metal, and put it back on. When you put it back on, the best thing to do is to get a piece of A4 paper, fold it in half, put it against the flywheel, where those are, so basically move those round to there, put the piece of A4 paper in, and then just press this up against the A4 paper, do the screws up, and take the A4 paper out. The idea is that that should almost touch this, so this flywheel should almost touch the bits of metal in that, but not quite. That 99% of the time will fix your spark problem, and that can be done across almost any machine, modern machine these days. There's no points, there's nothing like that. This is simply done. The spark quite simply comes from those two bits of steel passing this coil here. Again, if you want to know if you're getting a spark, you can put your finger on a little bit of metal there and just turn it gently. Don't do it, don't pull it over for goodness sake, because you get a hell of a shock. Turn it over. Obviously you can't do this with my so easily with the phone in my hand, but you can just whip it past there and just feel if you get a little tingle at this sort of speed. Gives you an idea of if you're going to get a spark. But the best way is HT lead on, that touching the metal, pull it over. You're looking for a big fat blue spark. Thinnish purple one's not quite so good, and a weak little yellow one is absolutely no good at all. There we are. I mean, that should help. Look, 99% of the time you're going to be faced with no spark because those are dirty, or you're going to be faced with dirty petrol, or you're going to be faced with no petrol in this little fuel line here, and you need the machine to draw it up. That's why modern machines have a little primer bulb that you press, like this thing has here. Has a little primer bulb there, and all that primer bulb is doing is filling up this little pipe and the little carburetor. There we are. Hope that helps, and sorry about the gap in the middle. Cheers for now.